Hey guys, so I thought best to start from the very beginning again for all of you who have zero idea. Um, so basically, when it comes to crocheting, the main things you're going to need is some hooks, stitch markers, needles for sewing in your ends, scissors for cutting your ends, and yarns. So when it comes to hooks, there is obviously, as you've seen, quite a few different types. There's your standard just metal ones. You've got ones with handles, ones with ergonomic handles. There is even this thing that you can put anyone you want into. Okay, so it looks a bit wrong, but yes, you put anyone you in any size one you want into, and if you've got problems with grip, you can just hold it a bit better. Now on your hooks, they all have a size. Like this one is size 6, as you can see. Some will have letters because in different countries they use different methods of telling them. So this is a J, or size 10, or in Australia it is 5.75 millimeters. Then you've got this one here, 4.0 millimeters. You've got this one here, 2 millimeters. So you get really, really tiny ones like this. They are for obviously your finer cottons like this crocheting cotton for doilies and stuff. And I'll put it against my finger, you can see just how fine it is. Then you've got obviously different size hooks for different size yarns, etc. Now, with your yarns, you can get all kinds. You can get cottons, you can get acrylics, you can get wool, obviously, bamboo. Now, all of your yarns will have on them, for instance, what size needles to use if you're going to knit with them. And then it has here, obviously, the US size 7, the Australian 4.5 millimeters. The hook you would use, like the US H or 8 or the 5 millimeters in Australian. Now this one has a yarn weight on it, which I'm not going to lie, I still don't fully understand yarn's weights when it comes to this. I'm used to the Australian version that we get, which says 8 ply, 10 ply, 12 ply, whatever. Now, also on your labels, you will have how many meters it's in it. Sorry, how many grams. What it's made from, acrylic. Most will have meterage, so tell you roughly how many meters it is. I'm pretty sure this one does somewhere. Yeah, 79 grams, 109 meters. So yeah, so nearly every single yarn will tell you what hook you need, well, what is preferred anyway. They also come with these little diagrams. They're slightly different. On this one, it's these here, and it tells you your gauge should be 10 by 10 centimeters, should be 20 stitches and 26 rows to get a 10 by 10 centimeter square. Whereas this one here has a bit of another diagram where it says 22 stitches across 30 rows will get you a 10 by 10 centimeter square. Now, obviously, even though this one states 4 millimeters and it's got knitting needles, that would also be a 4 millimeter crochet hook. So generally you just go by, if they don't have a crochet hook number on it like this one here does, just go for the same size as the knitting needles. Now that being said, this here says a 5 millimeter hook, and that should be what your tension is. 13 single crochets and 14 rows should give you a 10 by 10 centimeter square. Now that doesn't necessarily always work out like that, because everyone has a different tension. So the best bet is to start off and try it with the 5 millimeter and see if you can make a 10 by 10 centimeter square using the 13 single crochets and 14 rows. You may need to go up a size if you've got a really tight tension. You may have to go down a size if you've got a really tight tension. So you just fiddle around with all the different hooks until you get that tension. So 13 single crochets and 14 rows should equal that. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure what else you need to know. Like, obviously, this is cotton, this one. It's great for pretty much anything. I use a lot of it for dishcloths and pot holders and anything that's going to be touching something hot because it doesn't melt. Acrylic, big no-no is anything with heat because it will melt instantly. Great for blankets, scarves, clothing and stuff. Sometimes it does tend to peel a bit when you wash. You can get yarns that are wool, tweed, bamboo, you name it, there's pretty much one of everything. Now this yarn here I use for when I do my doilies or my lace work. It's absolutely tiny, a real pain some days, but does do some amazing work. As you can see, it's absolutely tiny. Other than that, I think most of it's pretty self-explanatory once you realise the difference in sizes and stuff, and you know how to work out what size you would need, and then you know how to work out your rough estimate of what your tension should be. It'll all come fairly easy once you do it a few times around, but these labels also have care instructions on them, as you can see. And here we go. This one has a written care instructions. Now that changes for every yarn, well, every type of yarn. So cotton and acrylic and bamboo and wool are all very different. So keep that in mind. But yeah, other than that, I say grab yourself a hook and some yarn and have a bit of a play around and see how you go.